Hi everyone, I have an interesting book to share here. It is the Ultimate Bible Character Guide. And you know how I feel about that word ultimate. It's not a word I think should be used unless you have the absolute best. And I'm not so sure this will be the best, but we'll find out. We'll take a look inside here. So here's the front cover. It has a nice little glossy feel on these gold letters, so really nice touch to it. Let's take a look at the back here. And this is what it promotes. It promotes more than 150 Bible characters. Right away, I can tell this won't be ultimate because there's far more than 150 Bible characters. I can see why they're just focusing more on the main ones. I understand there's a ton of characters out there that were just referenced once and there's just no detail. So I understand they can't do all of them, but yeah, there is way more than 150 characters, but this book would be massive if they tried that. So they got to keep it small and not too big. And in order to do that, they focus on the more notable ones. Fascinating characters, captivating stories, ultimate guide. This exciting encyclopedia provides more than 150 Bible characters as you've never seen them before, with amazing full-color illustrations and fascinating facts. Let's flip it over and jump in right now. Holman Publishers seems to be behind this one. Here's the title page, and we have our introduction. And they give you a quick little summary of how to read this book. And they share how you will meet bad kings, evil queens, eccentric prophets, giants and giant killers, mysterious priests, lowly criminals. Yeah, they just list it all here. To discover all these amazing characters, you might choose to read the Ultimate Bible Character Guide from front to back. Or you could find your favorite Bible hero and then track all of his or her contemporaries, building a better picture of life during that time. Or choose to focus on a particular group of characters. Kids, kings, bad guys, or supernatural beings. You have more than 150 lives to discover in these pages. And here we have the contents page. I guess this would be all 150 of them that they have. As you can see, they have it in alphabetical order. That is interesting. They're not going to go chronological. They're just going to go alphabetical. So if you just read it front to back, you'll just have a different character in a different time period. Okay, they have some pages here that sort of categorize the characters. You have angels and demons, Satan, Gabriel, Michael, then the Age of the Ancients from before 4000 BC to around 1900 BC. Basically the most earliest characters: Adam, Cain, Eve, Abel, Enoch. And as you flip through here, you have, all these characters categorized. Their time frames, when they're around, and where you can find them in the pages. It almost seems like it's a table of contents within a table of contents. That's sort of how I understand this so far. Yeah, so this just keeps going. You don't really start getting to the real content until what appears to be page 28. Alphabetically, Aaron would be the very first one, and that was Moses' big brother. It almost seems like a painting. That's kind of the art style. It's really interesting. I would guess this is a painting. It's really well done. And where is Aaron in the story of the Bible? You can find him in Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Born around 1530 BC in Egypt. This is kind of cool. They have a name meaning, Mountain of Strength. While they can't for sure claim that, I don't know where they would get the meaning from. Every culture has different interpretations of meanings. Then occupation, he was a high priest. Relatives, father, Amram. Mother was Jochebed. Sister, Miriam. Brother, of course, Moses. Claim to fame, Israel's first high priest. So immediately there's some things I like about this book. I actually like the relatives, because so often we don't understand the family tree of that character. I like the occupation, and I like the claim to fame. I think it really helps expand the understanding of the character, because a lot of times you sort of have to read in between lines. So I like that this book sort of gets right to the gist of the character and gives a quick bio profile of it. So that part I like. And they have a little fun fact. Did you know God used Aaron to begin the first 3 plagues of Egypt? I didn't know that. I mean, I probably read about it and I just glossed over it, but never took the time to think about that. So that's a cool fun fact. Here's another thing I think is pretty awesome. The strengths and weaknesses. So he was an excellent speaker, that I knew, and I think most people knew that. It was prominent that Moses needed help speaking. Appointed high priest by God, and God also did miracles through him. Weaknesses: gave in easily to the crowd, jealous of Moses and questioned his leadership, disobedient and crucial at times. And some extra tidbits of information here. Tribe of Levi, the priestly clan. Moses' spokesman when confronting Pharaoh. Helped lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Like his brother Moses, was not allowed to enter the promised land. Was 83 when he left Egypt. Died on Mount Hor at age 123. Eleazar took his place as high priest. And just a little bit of more information at the bottom here. Aaron knew God's power and might firsthand. When he cast his staff down at the feet of Pharaoh, it turned into a writhing serpent. Aaron was Moses' right-hand man in leading the people out of Egypt, but he didn't always follow God's plan. Once, while Moses was away, he created a golden calf out of jewelry because the people demanded something to worship, and he disobeyed God's orders about a water-giving rock. Because of his disobedience, Aaron was not allowed to enter the promised land, but God forgave his sins and established his descendants as the high priests of Israel forever. And let's see, that's it. So in those 2 pages, that's a lot of information you get on Aaron. And I know some characters are more popular and less popular than others. So as you can see here with Abel, you're not getting everything that you would with Aaron. And I think this book is only working with what the information is presented in the Bible. Abel was not talked about very much, so it would be understandable that they're not going to get a bunch of information about Abel, but they do what they can here. Here we have, of course, story in the Bible mentioned in Genesis 4, born before 4000 BC, name meaning breath, occupation, shepherd, relatives. Of course, parents were Adam and Eve, and brother was Cain and Seth. Claim to fame, murdered by his brother Cain. That's not really something to be famous for, but the Bible does not reference much of his life, so sadly that is his only claim to fame. I would argue more his claim to fame would have been that he provided God a proper sacrifice. I think that would have been a better claim to fame, but this is what they went with. Second son of Adam and Eve, had strong faith in God, gave God a pleasing offering, as I just mentioned, of a firstborn lamb, killed in a field by his brother Cain, whose offer was not accepted by God. His blood cried out for vengeance to God. So a lesser character like Abel is not going to get too much information compared to someone like Aaron. I do really like the composition throughout these pages. I think they give lots of breathing space, white space. Like there's nothing being used here, and that's okay. I think you're just really taking in this full spread visual rendition of Abraham. So they don't blast you with too much information here. They give a lot of interesting details that maybe you wouldn't recognize right away when reading about them in the Bible. So let's, just out of curiosity, let's flip over to Jesus. Okay, Jesus Christ. Let's see how many pages they give Jesus. Wow, only one full spread. I thought they would have added more, but just one full spread here. A little disappointed they didn't give more about him, but that's the direction they went. Jesus Christ, the promised Messiah, descended from the line of David, fulfills more than 100 Old Testament prophecies about the Messiah, including the suffering servant in Isaiah. Began his public ministry at the age of 30. Name is pronounced Yeshua in Hebrew, spoke Aramaic. Did you know? On the night of his arrest, Jesus prayed with such grief that his sweat was like drops of blood. I knew that as well. Yeah, you can tell right away this is definitely more for kids, and I would have expected that. So I guess you're not going to have a full-blown information of every character, but this definitely seemed like a very great complement to the Bible on if you want a quick bio of these characters. love the illustrations. Love how these characters are portrayed. John the Baptist, yeah, that's how I would imagine John the Baptist. So, I mean, no one truly knows how these characters actually looked. Really well done images here. And that's basically how this is. It's just going to go like this throughout the entire book. Let's go to the end here. See if they have anything extra at the end here. So we're already hitting about over 220 pages here at least. And they go to Zechariah. Is there anything extra at the end? No, that's it. They just give you a blank white page. That is it. No notes, no reference page, nothing extra. Just gets right to it. Nothing flashy, but there you have it. This is the ultimate Bible character guide. Not bad. I think this is a pretty helpful resource for both kids and adults. I don't see why you could not read this book and get a ton of value out of it.